being unapologetically attractive.
I'm gonna tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'm gonna tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra, with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares.
Guys, welcome to the C-Note Show. My name, I think, is still Jeff Allen, if I got that correctly, because I messed up a whole bunch of stuff and we're starting fresh. So it's Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. Welcome to our phenomenal, amazingly beautiful, talented Miss Cynthia Cruz as my co-host. Say hi, Cynthia.
Thank you. Hey, good morning. It's so incredibly wonderful to see all of you. Thank you for being here.
So welcome, guys. You are here because you want to know how the hell to understand what's going on with your spouse. Either in combination with you, you feel like you're in free fall or you're drowning, you're up over your eyeballs in the quicksand, or she's throwing stuff at you. You know, you've Google searched, you've looked for what's a shit test, what's going on with her. She wants to come back. She doesn't want to come back. We're living together. Now she says she wants more space again. That's why you're here in this giant confluence of events and mistakes and confusion. It's why you're here, because you want to sort all that out. So we give you a solid plan and perspective. So I promise you guys, by the end of today's show, you'll have a plan and solid perspective of what's going on. And let's start with, we really need a plan of what's going on in today's world right now. So I've got a funny Kevin James short that I want to share right now. It's called Out of Touch.
I can't do it anymore, Marcus. I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna die. I'm too young to die.
It's our life now. This is our life now, okay? We're gonna go on. It's gonna be fun.
I can't go on, Marcus. I can't do this. I'm gonna die.
Why are you shaking my hand?
I gotta run. I can't go to jail. I can't go to jail, Marcus. I can't. Oh God, they're coming. They're coming.
Shut up. Shut up.
Oh no!
Hey, there we go. There we go.
With your hand on your head, with one on the ground. Not just
6 hours earlier.
Oh, hey, Ted.
Oh hey, Marcus. How are you?
Good. We out for a little run?
Yeah. Just did 7. I might do another 7. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold you up. Hey, let's grab dinner sometime.
I would love that.
All right.
You, me,
Good
Karen.
seeing you. Absolutely. I mean.
What's your emergency?
Hi, yeah. I got a couple handshakers right in front of me.
Okay, sir, are they still in the vicinity?
Yeah, I'm staring at them right now.
Serious? Usando máscaras, né?
Run.
How do we get along in today's world? The rules have changed. The rules have changed. You can't shake hands. So my sister is doing like the chicken wing. What the fuck they call this? Like you bump elbows. I'm calling it the chicken wing because I think it's ridiculous, but maybe that's the new thing. I've got a funny clip about that another day too. That was so good. The rules have changed, guys. And here's my segue. The rules have changed in modern relationship as well. All right. We want to know how to be unapologetically attractive. That's that's my hard segue. That's our theme of this week, is how to be unapologetically attractive. And I want to share because I have to show off my amazing, look at that. It's so cute. Unapologetically attractive. There we go. And I want to start off with a question. It's a mashup of questions on today's forum. So there's our theme, being unapologetically attractive, being respected versus being needy. Right, so how to be respected, which can lead to attraction, which can lead to sexual attraction. If we're not respected or respect ourselves, then we absolutely cannot be attractive in relationship. And so I want to lead into our question here today. So we do the funny, we open with the funny because we dive right into the shit. So here we go. My wife said that she wanted to come back. That night she missed me and wanted to come home. As of last night, she's back in the house. She seems really sincere this time, but I know I'm going to have trust issues. I told her that rebuilding the trust will take some time. She seems vested emotionally again, but the intimacy doesn't seem to be there. I find myself worrying that she wants stability with me, but is getting intimacy with the other guy. She has sworn off contact with him, but I don't know how to trust that. How much time will it take for us to get over this after all the trauma we have been through? So Cynthia, I'd love for you to open up your mic and give us some thoughts on, from a woman's point of view, okay? So I hear, wow, like, how could he take her back? I hear, oh, well, intimacy is not strong right now. How long will it take? What about my own work, right? There's us, there's her, and then there's the relationship, right? There's me, there's her, and there's the relationship. And so Cynthia, from a woman's point of view, is there any way, what would be the first question you might ask this man, first of all, if he called you as a professional? And is there any way that he can know how much time it will take for us to get over this after the trauma? Is there any way for him to know if she's getting intimacy with the other guy? So give us some framework of how you might start talking with this man if he called you on the phone right now.
Sure, I think if someone decides to take a partner back and they recommit to each other, I think that's wonderful. And if he as a partner decided that there had been too much trust broken and he wanted to move on, that's wonderful too. Both are opportunities and both are on the right path. I would encourage him in this place where his trust has been broken. This is really a time, even though his wife's back in the house, this is really a time for him to continue focusing on who he is, who he's becoming as a man. What has he learned through this process? What are his goals and dreams and aspirations? What's his daily routine? And to really focus on being solid in himself. Because if we are looking to another person, always looking like at their movements, how they're acting to make us feel more in trust with them, it's never going to be perfect, and it's never going to satisfy and fill in that hole of, I'm afraid that this could end again. I'm afraid that this person is not being truthful with me. So that's always the first step. And then of course there are things in the relationship space that I would ask him to do as well.
Oh my gosh, I love what you said about thinking about ourselves still, of course, ongoing, even though she's back in the house. And so wait, what do you mean? She's not supposed to fill our cup up for us? She's not supposed to like fix everything for us when she comes back? That's just going to magically fix everything, I thought.
I would say as a woman, when I've had times when, a man has felt like he hasn't trusted me, and I want that reconnection again and convince him I am trustworthy, I want desperately to do that. But I also know as a human being, like we can only meet each other so far until us as individuals really trust ourselves and even trust that we will survive if this relationship doesn't end. If we can't build trust, I trust that I can get through this to the other side. And that's a compelling, attractive place to be in all different kinds of relationships in our lives.
Yeah, so trusting our own self, regardless of whether she's back or not. So I love that. Thank you for opening that up for us. We have some tools for today. I've got some research about cognitive distortions and some research about habits and dopamines. We don't like research very much, so I'll go fast through that. And then we've got some tools that Cynthia and I have created from the ground up. Some we've shown on the show before, and some are going to be new today. And one thing I want to ask for, of course, all the amazing men that are on here and our regulars, of course, Paul, Kent, Joseph, we got Brett on again today. Andy's here. There's two Andys. I don't know if that's the same Andy. No, it's not the same Andy. Definitely. There's only one Andy. There's only one Andy, Jeff. The other one is Anthony. No, so we've got Tony. We'll go Tony. And of course, Michael's here. Awesome. Michael's iPhone anyway. I don't know if Michael's here, but Michael's iPhone is here. Scott, good to see you again. Walters is here. Todd, Rob, love you guys. If I miss somebody, I gravely apologize, and I'll supplicate myself on the floor after the show. And you can just picture that right now.
Jeff, it's Patrick here. Supplicate.
Yeah, there's Patrick. I don't know, Patrick, did you mean to speak up, or was that your New Zealand Twitch that unmuted you there?
I untwitched.
There we go. Yeah, welcome, Patrick. Fantastic.
I'm looking for the supplication.
Well, just imagine in your mind here. There, now imagine in your mind as I go. No, okay, I'll be done.
I'm having trust issues with you, Jeff.
Oh my God. Side spot with Pat. I love this. Patrick, phenomenal. So good. So yeah, let's get right into some tools. And Patrick, since I want to ask about morning routine, our tool today is going to be about morning routine. And I want to know what you do. Every day it's the C-Note show, right, Patrick? Because it's 5 a.m. there, so it's definitely in the morning. What else do you do in the morning for yourself, Patrick, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot for a second? What do you do for yourself in the morning?
Well, I sort of plan the day and what have you, and always try and achieve something during the day. And well, basically, I used to get up at 4:30 and have a cup of tea, but now I get up at 10 to 5, and I don't get up. I just stay in bed and watch it. So I do that for myself because it's bloody cold. Typically, I'm thinking about what I've learnt on the show. Or after the show, I go back to sleep. And when I wake up, I'm thinking about what's going on in the show. I make notes while you're talking, and I look for the reading and stuff that you do. And typically, I do a little bit of reading in the morning to set myself up if I'm down, sort of thing, to go, okay, switch my mind, because I call it slowing the hamster, because the hamster's always going round and round the same shit every day, and that is starting to go. But mind you, I've been going through this shit for about 18 months, and she left about 8 months ago. So, yeah, I do those sorts of little simple things, basically.
Yeah, slowing the hamster. I just made note of that under our metaphors. I love it. So that's great. That's what I was hoping for, is that you're taking care of yourself. And it sounds like you are. You're getting up when you want to do something for your own self, or growth within your own self. And then you get yourself basically ready for the day. And your hobby right now, it sounds like, is learning about yourself and learning about relationship.
Yeah, I've got the other situation where I've now got my son with me, because his marriage is going through a little bit, and hopefully that'll come right. So I'm cooking more, where before I wasn't cooking a big meal because I just wasn't in the mood. Now I've got to cook for somebody else, so that's all right. And typically I'm getting a ring from my son-in-law, come and help me on the farm, so that's all right. Bit of physical, so all that sort of stuff. It's not every day he's working, but he rang me yesterday. What are you doing the weekend? Oh, let me look. Bugger all. It looks like I'm on the farm. So yeah, and it's for all the guys that are going through it. For me, it's a real slow process, because the length of time we were together, 46 years, and it's just been a blow to the gut, basically, and trying to understand what the hell was going on. And out of this, I'm getting something, the tools sort of thing for when the next time she comes around, or whatever, the next time I see her, which is who knows when that is, basically. So, and there's always something, sometimes I'm going, oh, I'm tired. Do I really need to do this? And then 10 minutes in the show, there's a note I'll put down. Try that, do this, read that. So there's always something. And the blokes that are sharing all the shit that they go through as well is helpful. And the all the notes on the website, on the private group, going through there as well. You see other people going through a fair bit of shit.
Well, Patrick, thank you so much. I didn't expect you. He really does want a spot on our show, Cynthia. Look at this. He's like playing it up. I love it. That was phenomenal, Patrick. Thank you for mentioning our private Facebook.
My people will talk to your people.
Yeah, exactly. Good. I love it. Thank you so much, Patrick. I'm going to put you on mute for a moment here. Thank you so much. So yeah, let me share some of the tools that we're going to dig into today. All right. And Patrick nailed a bunch of it. He's physicality. He's getting up when he wants. He's doing something for his emotional health. He's doing something for his own intellect, reading books or reaching out in different ways, stimulating his mind as well as his body. Connection with family. His son's in the house right now. So even though he may be busy and on the farm, or bugger all, I'm on the farm this weekend, he's getting out there and feels energized about his life. Now, of course, he, as Patrick has said, and he's been on our show for, this is going on the 5th week of our show. Cynthia, is that right? Is this the fifth week of our show?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, phenomenal. And Patrick's been on our show since day one, since some of the premieres ahead of that. So thank you so much, Patrick. You're phenomenal. So Cynthia, please jump on here with me and we'll talk about forward momentum. So morning routine. One thing I wanted to share, guys, is we have to start grabbing our own life, the fucking reins of our own life here, grabbing our life by the balls. And the question I get from guys all the time is, well, how do I start doing that? And you start doing that first thing in the morning. Okay. You have power over when you get up. Now you can just wait until you have to get up and you're forced to get off of someone else's time schedule, someone else's timetable, whether it's your kids or your spouse or work or whatever it may be. Or you can choose to get up earlier than that and get up on your time frame when you want. Okay, so even if I say it like that, you can get up when you want, or you can get up when someone else needs you, or you're forced to get up. So Cynthia, let's start there. Why does it matter for me to take charge of my life as a man first thing in the morning? When you check in with men every single day over your daily wraparounds, your weekly wraparounds, and monthly as well. And you help spearhead that small group within the forum as well. So why do a daily check-in? Why take charge of our life first thing in the morning and get up when we want?
Well, I really loved what Patrick said about he's setting his energy for the day and he's setting his thoughts for the day. That is huge. It is the most empowering thing to understand that we have a choice in how our day will unfold, and making those first choices first thing in the morning it's a really powerful time to do that. And I've certainly experienced the opposite of that when, I'm not rising and being attentive to what I'm wanting the day to look like, how I'm wanting to feel. And it feels like for me as a woman, I end up feeling in a whirlwind all day long. It's like the world's out of my control. And I will say, Jeff, watching you embody this and model this so much about you get up and you have a routine, you do a reading, a meditation, an exercise. As a woman on the sidelines watching that, it's such a strong, solid, energetic presence that you hold. And it's kind of like this lighthouse energy that day in and day out, I find very reliable and admirable. And it's also inspiring for me, especially when I'm in whirlwind state, of how to anchor down a little bit. So.
Oh, well, thank you. It certainly wasn't always that way, guys, especially when quarantine started happening. I was going to the quite often, right? And I wasn't able to do that any longer. I was taking my 16-year-old son to the gym, and that was a way for us to connect as well. And that, all that got thrown out the window. So we had to become inventive, basically, and start to get out. I go to the park now. I do pull-ups on tree branches, push-ups wherever I can, things like this to keep that momentum going. And so I want to go right into, but I think Scott said he takes a big crap first thing in the morning. Yeah, so do I. That's actually what I do. So I take it. So you go into the throne room. So let me go down to our kingly plan in the throne room, right? Your morning kingly plan as you sit on the throne. And so this is what I do before I even go to the park, before I do anything to get outside. This is the first probably 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, depends on the throne, maybe 20 minutes every day. Yeah, Scott says he unloads his problems. Yeah, that's a good one. We can unload that problem, definitely. So step 0 is get up. And step one is a 1-sentence appreciation journal that I've been doing. I meant to bring it down here today. I'll bring it down tomorrow. It's got an Oscar Wilde quote on the front that says, life is too important to be taken seriously. And in there I have sticky notes from last year that I took off my mirror that I accumulated from Cynthia, nice things to remind myself in the front. And then I do a 1-sentence or 1-line appreciation journal every day. Okay. And it's sitting right there in front of me on the toilet. And the previous day I've put today's date. So yesterday I put 5/19 in the book. And today I sit down and I have to write something I'm appreciative for, that I'm grateful for. And really, we have no excuse to not write 1 sentence. Okay. So if I were to call on you today, guys, I'd love some participation today for you to unmute yourself or to type in the chat. What's something that you're appreciative of today? Okay. Just 1 sentence or one thing, because I want to walk us through really fast our kingly plan. You may not be sitting on the toilet right now, or I don't know if you are, but don't unmute yourself if you are. But yeah, raise your hand in chat, raise your hand in the participant section in Zoom if you want to come on and ask a question about, for instance, well, I try to have a morning routine and it doesn't seem to work out for me, or it's a waste of time, or you know what, I'd rather just sleep every minute that I can. Or if you want to share what works really well for you, you have 30 seconds of what works really well for you. I'd love for you to share. Okay. Otherwise, type an appreciation in the chat or raise your hand to say something that you appreciate today. And as Patrick mentioned, so right after I do my 1-sentence appreciation, I pick up something inspirational that I'm reading, and I literally read about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so we're about 5 minutes in right here. And now if I'm asking myself a question, if I'm asking myself, basically, I'm not feeling very good today, what's going on? Or I woke up feeling, stressed from something else that's happening, or we wake up with this anxiety in our life because we're still separated in the same house with the woman who we're, still living with, but I'm in a different bedroom and life is just a clusterfuck right now. Okay. Everything from there to here in that entire range, we can ask ourselves, what do I know to be true? What do I know to be true? Okay. What I know to be true right now is that I'm doing my kingly plan, that I want forward momentum in the world. Okay, that I care about my growth. And back to our question of today, she's just moved in. She's just moved in, and I'm not sure about affection that's going on right now. How long will it take for us to trust each other again? She seems really sincere this time, but I know I'm going to have trust issues. So what do I know to be true? So Cynthia, what would you expect to be going on in this man's mind if he were to do a okay, I'm appreciative of, in the chat here, my friends. My weight bench finally came in today. Appreciative of that. I can do workouts at home. I'm appreciative of my family. I've been able to spend time with my family the past few days. Right? Maybe he reads something from the big book, or he reads something from a book he's reading. And then this man with our question today is asking himself, what does he know to be true? So what else might be going through his mind? She seems sincere this time. Please jump in.
Sure. Well, I did want to mention that sometimes that request of ourselves to find appreciations when so many things are not how we want it to be, it's almost like and I've done this, we kind of cling on because it's like, I can't feel any appreciation right now because the pain, the anger is too big. And then we even feel ashamed that we can't do that. And so I just want to offer out that sometimes it feels a little rough to get to the appreciation. But there's Tony Robbins says, where our focus goes, grows. And so when we can pick out the one thing that's going well amongst the storm, it tends to start opening us up, our eyes, to see some other things that are going well. And the more we can feel better, the more we are able to create better circumstances around us. So I just want to offer that up. But the prompt you asked, can you put it back on the screen again? Thank you.
Our question of today. Yeah. So this man, she just moved back in, and he's knowing that there'd be some trust issues, certainly. And she's vested emotionally. It seems she's vested emotionally, but the intimacy doesn't seem to be there. So what might be he questioning, or what might he let's go the opposite way. What does he know to be true? So if you get into this man's head, Cynthia, what is he going to say he knows that's true right now?
Well, I would ask him to know, say, like, what is his true about himself? What does he know about himself as a man? Like, I am a good man. What do you deserve? Like, what kind of relationship do you want? And asking what is true in the relationship currently is kind of pulling out the elephant. Yeah, she cheated. Yeah, she was with this other man. What else do I know to be true? Okay, she's here now and she's telling me that she wants to be back with me. What else do I know to be true? I know that this is real and this was an emotional experience and that it will take some time to heal this. And so what else do you know to be true? I know I need tools and steps to move toward this. And it's okay to know there are things that we know as true and still be uncertain of the future. That's an uncomfortable energy. And it's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to be in the forest as long as you're holding on to what is true in the moment. Know that there will be a resolution at some point.
Oh, I love that. I started to type that out. It's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to be uncertain in the forest and in the forest, as long as you know, go ahead and finish the sentence for me. As long as you know
that you have tools and steps that you're using along the way. And God, that takes so much courage to not have certainty and to still go step by step. And that's why I think, if to work with my own, this is an uncomfortable place to be. That's why something that I'm grateful for becomes such a gift, because it becomes an anchor in those moments in the forest.
Yeah, and an anchor during the storm. Absolutely. I want to read something from Christopher Reeves, who of course played Superman back when all of us were growing up. And this is from his website, and it's about his autobiography, which is called Still Me. And it's on Christopher Reeves. I'm actually going to copy and paste this into the chat right now. It's on his homepage. So if you just search, if you're watching this on YouTube, for instance, you'll search Christopher Reeves, Still Me. This is autobiography. When the first Superman movie came out, I'll go ahead and share this. When the first Superman movie came out, I was frequently asked, who is a hero? I remember the glib response I repeated so many times. My answer was that a hero was someone who commits a courageous action without considering the consequences. A soldier who crawls out of a foxhole to dig an injured buddy to safety, to drag an injured buddy to safety. And I also meant individuals who are slightly larger than life: Houdini, Lindenberg, John Wayne, JFK, and Joe DiMaggio. Now my definition is completely different. I think a hero is an ordinary individual who finds strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. Okay, so he has a couple examples here that I'll say. But I mean, definitely the overwhelming obstacle for us is the catastrophe, the believed story of catastrophe of our relationship. I mean, that's certainly where I was in my previous relationship in 2015. And Cynthia and I have talked about this quite a bit on the show. I felt like I was absolutely in free fall, that the pages of my story, the future story of my life, had been ripped out and they were strewn down the beach, blowing away in the sand, getting wet and destroyed and never to be seen again. And that was the start. That was the start. Feeling like free fall, and there goes my life. Okay, right? That was the start. So part of this man's question is, how long is it going to take? And there are definitely phases to this journey, which I can talk about. No one's going to be able to promise how long it's going to take, but what we can give you are the first steps. And I talk a lot about, let's not walk around with binoculars on our face, because that's the question of how long is this going to take, right? I can hold up binoculars and I may not be able to actually see where the end is because it's around a corner or it's behind some trees or it's over that mountain over there. Now, does that mean that it doesn't exist? Of course not. Just because I can't see it with my binoculars doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But if the only thing on my radar is what I can see through these binoculars, I'm really going to be dissuaded. I'm really going to have a hard time. I'm going to feel like in a pit of despair because I can't see the end. Okay. But what I can see is to take the binoculars down off my face and look down and see what the next steps are in my life. And that is, as Christopher Reeves would say, an ordinary individual who finds strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. Okay, that's a hero in our life. That's a hero for yourself. That's a hero for your kids, for your family, for your community, for your church, for your sports team, for your workplace. Okay, in 2015, I got promoted and divorced. Okay, it's a real shitty spot to be in when you're crying in your boss's office because of some kind of conflict that happened with another colleague that really shouldn't have been that big of a deal, but it is now a giant deal. And I go into my boss's office just to basically have a place to let her know what happened, and so she doesn't wonder why I'm like destroyed in the bathroom, you know? So I cry to my boss's office right after getting a promotion, right? So it's like, life is fucked up sometimes, and that's okay, right? Obviously, I wouldn't have wished that to happen that morning, right? And to be honest, I wasn't doing a very good morning plan during that time. So let's get back to this tool that can help you guys immediately, is the Kingly Plan in the morning. I was not doing this in 2015, guys. I had to learn this. All right, so get up. What's your one sentence appreciation? Read something inspirational or read 3 pages. Like, that's a big piece of this. You're looking down. You're putting the binoculars down. You're looking down. What's the one next step? I'm taking a shit. Let me read 3 pages of a book. Okay, what do I know to be true? She's back in the house. She's saying that she wants to be with me. She's trying. I'm trying. I want good things for my life and for my family and for my future and for my community. Those are things I know to be true. Right? Certainly take a screenshot. I'm always, happy for you guys to take a screenshot of this. Cynthia and I developed this ourselves. We didn't just copy this from somewhere else. Okay? And so real fast, I don't want to dig into these because I want to move forward with our show today. But what doesn't work for me? What's the opposite of that? What do I want? Okay. I broke these up because this is a whole other exercise you can do in your head, or you can do journaling, or you can write about it for 30 minutes. So the first 3 are definitely, there's no excuse for not doing the first 3 every day, including 0. Get up. Right? And then if you really want to move forward in your life, you have to ask yourself, what questions inspire me? Okay. So Cynthia, I'd love for you to unmute yourself and we'll talk about the show for 2 seconds here. Why are we doing this show, Cynthia? So I always talk about heart and business, left foot, right foot, heart and business. So why are we doing this show?
Well, I am here to just be a mirror back to an incredible group of men and say and show all the strengths, gifts, presence that you have in the best way I know how, which is to feel into my woman's soul and be in tremendous appreciation for you. And if this group and this energy together then moves out into the world and you get to be in the best lives that you want with the best partners that you want, that to me is the gratitude of that is enormous, and it makes me excited to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, excited to get out of bed in the morning. Absolutely. So for me, it's selfish that I like looking up Happy Gilmore clips and weird science from 1985 movie clips that I have queued up right now. It's amazing to research TED Talks and pull out 2-minute things to show you guys. And I came to this. I don't think we have time for my whole story today. I won't share that today. But I was a businessman in my 20s. When I turned 30, when the recession hit in 2009, 2008, 2009, my son went into kindergarten. And I switched my career in 2009 into mental health, child psychology, family systems theory, and teaching. Got another degree, and I've been in this field for over a decade. So helping mental health, and Cynthia as well. Cynthia has a master's degree in teaching and special education. We both came from the world of special education and teaching kids that really don't just get it immediately. Okay. Like, and I didn't get relationship immediately. Fuck, my dad didn't teach me this. No other men taught me this. I had to learn this the hard way until I found this work and Good Guys to Great Men in 2015 when my relationship was in the fucking toilet. Okay. So what I'd love to be able to help is it doesn't have to be in the toilet. And even if it is, okay, there's light at the end of the tunnel, right? So we can show you, that's what I love about this. We can show you how to cut a year, 2 years, 3 years off of your learning, okay? And we can show you how to save an entire relationship instead of just throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Because Cynthia and I see that all the time, right? So this gentleman, I want to point out, this gentleman about the question is he's already asking how much time will it take for us to get over this, okay? So you got to put the fucking binoculars down. That's what I would say to this guy right now. Okay, because if you're walking around like this with binoculars around, you're completely looking at this the wrong way. Completely looking at this the wrong way. You're going to be detached from your body. You're not going to be present within yourself. You're going to be up in your head, like, am I doing the right thing? And all in your fucking head, and it's not going to connect with her. Okay, so I love that you're asking about, you want intimacy with her, and it seems like she's sincere this time. And, she, by the way, guys, and so I'm going to lean into this, right? She wanted to come back. Okay. She's back in the house. She seems sincere. I'm going to have trust issues. Oh my God. It took 3 sentences for get to I want something. And it's I'm going to have trust issues. I told her that rebuilding the trust will take some time. Oh my God. There we go. So right there, this is the first time in this question that this man has led. Just want to point that out. Okay, that's super important. It's not about what she wants. It's what do you also want? It's not just her. It's also you and you involved in the relationship. Okay, and what does she want? She wants you to lead. She wants you to lead from your heart and your guts and your crotch and your legs. That's what she wants, right? So you got to know what you want as well. And that's a big piece of this. So I told her rebuilding the trust will take some time. Cool. Awesome. So you're setting the frame there. I love it. She seems emotionally invested. The intimacy doesn't seem to be there. She wants stability with the other. Okay. So that's like 4 different topics we're happy to expound on a different time, right? If you don't have our free ebook, our free audiobook, I should say, we released it about 16 days ago, about 2 weeks ago. So go to greatmenmovemountains.com/free audiobook. And there's also, Cynthia created a 13-page ebook that goes along with it. So it's two mouse clicks. Right? The audiobook and the PDF that goes along with it. And it talks exactly about this. How do I escalate intimacy from step 0 and step 1 again? How do I rebuild trust? How do I lead from my heart and from my guts? It's phenomenal. Okay, so we'll go into that. I have another client who has been cheated on and she's back and the relationship is better than ever, he tells me. Okay, he's been telling me that for 2 months now. Better than ever. And he still has, so we talked about the boardroom last week. He's got another seat here that's called Slimer, he called it, from Ghostbusters, right? Slimer. And Slimer is the thought about the other man with my wife. Okay, my ex cheated. I was about to say a good friend of mine, but he was a bastard, that Slimer. And so how do we deal with Slimer? We got to make a note on that for a whole other show, Cynthia, definitely, around infidelity. And I know there's men on here that have experienced that, and we'll definitely talk about that. So, gentlemen, I just shot out a bunch of things. I do want to share a clip from the movie Weird Science, so I don't want to move on from this just yet. Raise your hand, post in chat if you want to add to this conversation right now. I'd love for you to share your story. I'd love for you to share if you're in a stuck place. I'd love for you to share if you've moved past a stuck place and you've had success in your own life as well. Right, I'd love for you to do that now. Yeah, Andy, please. Let me see if I can unmute you. I think might have to unmute yourself. There, go for it. Go for it, please. Hey, Andy.
Yeah. In that sorry, I just dropped my pen. In that, when you read out what the guy was saying about, she seems like she wants to come home. She seems this. She seems something else. They were all pretty positive comments, and he appeared to be writing in an optimistic way. And then immediately, straight after, he comes up with a doubt. And I always go back to where I am because I'm working a lot on fear. And I remember reading Brené Brown. I always remember her reading, like, you've got your kids, you put them to bed at night, and something wonderful has happened that night. And they're fasting forward to sleep, and you're gazing upon them, and you're thinking, oh, what a lovely life I've got. And what's your next thought? Oh, my God, I hope nothing happens to them in the future. A fear thought, right? And so how often do we, I had exactly the same thing with my wife. She went off with a guy that lived 50 meters down the road. We had one day a big conversation, and she told me that she wanted to come back. She wanted to work things out, and she wasn't going to see him or anything with him. It was to end it. But I was still in very much, I had no limits. I had no boundaries. I didn't know anything about that. I was very much seeking to get approval from her. And I was a complete mess. And I was completely and utterly fearful as well. And I did everything that I would not do now. And I ended up losing my relationship. But for me, I just wanted to make the point that I think fear can play a major role, and actually being aware of when you are in fear mode, like that would actually go in my boardroom now. Just being aware and conscious of it, you can choose to see that thought as just a thought, but it's not necessarily real, and it isn't necessarily going to happen. It's just there, and you can take time out, accept that it's all right, but you can then, come back and say, if you develop tools that you can get, like what you guys are doing, you're doing an amazing job on like teaching this masculinity and being grounded, having your boundaries and knowing what you want in life, then that all those tools that you guys are showing on here really help towards getting your wife back if you want to for a start, or getting what you want out of life, even if it isn't to do, even if in the end it's you after doing your change. My wife, my ex-wife now, couldn't be with her. She's not right for me anymore. She was then, but I'm different now. So kind of a mixed match of points there, but
Yeah, no, I love it, Andy. That's fantastic. And so I love how you model the story and the pain that you've gone through and the place that you are now and the perspective that you have now. That was so helpful for me when I found a men's group back in 2015, right, with Steve Horseman here locally. And that's what we're doing now here virtually with among you amazing men. So thank you so much, Andy. And Cynthia, I love one of your quotes is around an attractive man is not afraid of how he feels. So you can feel however you want to feel. You can feel in any way maybe that's appropriate right now, or even what's coming up with you, even if it's not appropriate. But the man who is not afraid of those feelings is attractive to a woman. Talk with us about that. Andy shared a little bit about fear and how he's moving through that. So talk with us about fear and how a man handles that, Cynthia.
Well, I think it was exactly what Andy modeled. And again, it's, when he talks or you talk or any gentleman shares like, yeah, I have this feeling, and there's like and this is here, and it's a true thing, but it doesn't determine, it's not truth that I'm going to die, that this is going to happen. I know how to move through it, and hey, I'm working on it. There is when Andy was just sharing it, I felt like he connected with me just as a human being. And it was also this guide, because I'm not perfect with emotions, and there are fear thoughts I have that I get wrapped up into. And even him just modeling that, it was like he was teaching my cells that it's okay to have these thoughts, that it's not going to overrun me or drown me in the water. So as a woman, that's so magnetic, because you're standing so in your confidence, your vulnerability, your realness. And that is, God, I want to kind of put that on the billboard. Like, that's what women are wanting. They don't want Superman, in his impenetrable state. They want your realness and your confidence in your realness.
So fantastic. I'm going to share Tony Robbins' video here. It's Unleash the Power Within. It's about 3 minutes long. This one kicks ass. Here we go.
What if you and we stop the suffering by having one new belief? Here's what's always happening for us, never to us. We think it's happening to us because of our minds, but it's all happening for us. Even the pain, even the disappointment, even the problems. Maybe life isn't always about getting your preferences. Maybe life is about you becoming more. And when you do, you feel more alive and you have more to give. And that's the purpose of life. Because when we're giving, we're outside of ourselves. There's no suffering when we're giving. Change your story, change your life. We all have a story about why we are where we are. If you're not where you want to be in your life, in some area, like maybe your body's great, but your finances aren't, or your finances great, but your relationship sucks, or doesn't, or whatever, the bottom line is you've got a story why it's that way. And the story we tell ourselves protects us from pain. It gives us a reason why it's not our fault, or it's going to be okay in the future. But the story that protects you also imprisons you. It keeps you from changing your life. So in order to create a change in your life, you really truly got to change your story. You got to shift your story. You got to find a story that's going to empower you, a story that's going to strengthen you, a story that will push you beyond anything you've ever done in the past. Make the decision that says, I will not suffer. I'm going to live in a beautiful state no matter what if it rains on your parade. What if your best friend screws you over? What if somebody yells at you? What if you get humiliated? What if you go broke? What if you lose your job? Could you still be happy, yes or no? Are there people who've lost arms, legs, been blinded, lost their family, and they're still loving and happy and beautiful, yes or no? And they aren't just Mother Teresa, they're not just Nelson Mandela, they're any human being that decides to live where it's not about themselves. Just do more, give more, share more, create more. What you need will be there. Tony, what's the single most important key to success above anything else? It's not talent, it's not skill, it's hunger.
It's not talent, it's not skill, it's hunger. I love that. And he also says that the story that empowers us can imprison us as well. This has to do with business as well. As you guys know, when we grow, we have to change the infrastructure of our business, otherwise it will fail in certain ways. And the same thing with when we are up-leveling our belief, our spiritual confidence, and how we do life, how we do relationship, how we do family, how we do fatherhood. As we up-level, people are going to feel that it's strange. People are going to give us pushback. She's going to test us because this is unusual. She wants to see that it's for real. She wants to see that it's for real. So Cynthia, I'd love for you to unmute yourself and jump in. Thank you for finding that Unleash the Power Within, Tony Robbins. We'll finish it another time. But please, you were saying that there was some chat that you wanted to comment on, Cynthia.
Well, yeah, I had asked if there were, inspired by Andy's story, if there were any other fear thoughts that anyone would want to share and how they move through it. And Scott said that he would be willing.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, Scott, can you unmute yourself?
How you doing?
Hey, good, man.
Yeah, you too, man. Sorry, I was just playing with kids. Normal. Just life itself. Raising your kids, what school, where you live. There's so many different fears that creep up every day. Am I doing the right thing, giving them this and that, and disciplining? And then you throw a relationship in there too. It gets very complicated, at the least. But just life itself. The uncertainness is definitely, especially right now with this lockdown, can definitely affect and cause more fear. So that's what I got.
Yeah. So give us one example, if you don't mind, and how you move yourself through, even if it's about fatherhood. I know I was so anxious and happy to be a father, and you're a father right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was my wife. She had a 2-year-old when I met her. So he's been my son for 6 years. Almost like 7 years. So I had him first, but I never had a baby. So then when we finally had our baby, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was like, well, cause we had a home birth, and the midwife, she targeted, she knew exactly what was going to happen, 4 hours in the birth. And she just put me right there. She's like, sit right here. And then boom, it came right out. I was like, oh shit. And it was in my hands. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And then he had a cord wrapped around his neck. So she's looked at him and said, oh, okay, 1, 2, 3, 3 hits on the cord. I was like, oh my God. And then she's like, yeah, he's cool. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And from then on, yeah, it's been a crazy adventure with, with this little human I got to raise, and he's got my butt chin. I'm like, what the hell?
That's why that's why I grow a little beard. I don't see my butt.
Yeah, I get scruffy sometimes to hide it.
Okay, so what's a fear that you've had that you could use a tool to work through? Something you could maybe share with other men. Now, do you picture something in your mind? Do you like pinch your hand? Is there something that you do physiologically yourself?
I mean, I have in the past worn a rubber band where I'd snap it on my wrist. That was for like different habits to break. Like I had a habit of like biting my nails when I was young. So that was more of a habit breaker I would use to deal with fear. And I mean, I just kind of like, I just don't think of the outcome. I think of the process more. That's what I try and get to. So like they say that it's not the journey, or it's not the destination, it's the journey. So that's what I try and keep my focus on. And I find that it helps me out a lot from just thinking about all the negatives that could happen on the outcome. I'm like, oh, what positives can I do on the journey? That's kind of where I go.
So cool. That's awesome. So give us an example. I mean, are you talking about, breathing into my belly, or are you talking about,
anything. I mean, like breath is really, if you check out Wim Hof, he's one of my favorite guys, the Dutch man, the Dutch Iceman. He does cold therapy. He brings guys up to Poland, and they have like a big group, and they do crazy breath exercise. And then they go out in the frozen tundra and just like lay in snow, and just like their body temperature like stays the same because they're all like super oxygenated. And so if you just sit down and do like 5 minutes of real belly to chest breath, like that circling motion, it's like, it can just clear up so much in your head, I like to say I meditate, but I really don't. I try, but I just get like super bored, and my mind goes crazy. But I think the best meditation for me, because I have a crazy active mind, is breathing, because that's all you can think about once you're in the breath, and the cold too. If you go in the cold, all you think about is how freaking cold your nuts are. And then, so that's a meditation, because you're only thinking about one thing.
Cynthia was just telling me that the other day. She worries about how cold her nuts get when she's out.
That's why they tuck in. They have a self-defense. They're like,
So good. Awesome. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and put you on mute, buddy. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Yeah. As far as the meditation thing, it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be staring out the window at a tree for 1 minute. It can be while you're walking, looking at the clouds. It's one thing that I do. My grandfather and I built model airplanes when I was a kid. And so I remember looking up at the clouds, the model airplanes, and having those moments with him. And so it's a peaceful moment for me. And sometimes I talk with him, right? Looking at the clouds, these kind of things. So it can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be head down, not moving, which is another way to do it, of course. But just honor yourself. And like Scott does, honors himself as what works for him. Yeah. So Cynthia, give me some feedback on the way you see Scott's energy, right? And he's not trying to be perfect, but he is leaning into the small bits of these habits that he does for himself.
Well, I love that. I loved, Scott, what you said about, I say I meditate, but I don't, because there was so much, there, you weren't judging yourself about that. And it was so real, and it touched in on me. Sometimes people around me have assumed that I'm a big meditator, and I'll just be like, oh yes, but I need to move.
You just let him think that? You just let him believe you're a big meditator?
Oh yes, I am.
Oh, yes, of course, but namaste.
Yeah, and I had the same experience with Scott that I did with Andy, that he was just such a grounded source and a reminder that, again, it helped me go, oh, that's right. In those moments when I'm really tense and probably really activating my masculine energy, I'm worried that I'm going to fail or not get something done well. That just the compassion to breathe in the self is, you are allowed that. And so I responded to Scott as like this incredible man doing this. And it also was, it pulled at something in me to remember.
So cool. Phenomenal. Thank you, guys. We're going to run over a little bit today, so I want to honor some men. If this is your hour, we're pushing on 2 minutes to the hour here. Probably going to run about 10 minutes over from what I want to show. I want to show more of our morning routine tool, which is a different screen. And then definitely we've got the Weird Science movie clip. I've got 2 clips, if I can fit them in, from 1985. And it's like the money, it's the setup and then the money shot clip from the movie, which is super cool. Not literally Dennis Collins. I know you're on here. It's not literally the money shot clip, so don't get your hopes up too much. So yeah, if you guys got to bounce out now, we honor you. Thank you so much for being here. Absolutely. And let's roll into more of our forward momentum. So Cynthia, I love how you typed this up this morning about our morning routine, and especially these 4 bullets down here. Okay. What do you want to do? And what's the point? Okay. And that's a little bit of how I framed getting up. Getting up when you want to get up means it has to be prior to when you have to get up. Okay. Right. So you are in control if you get up 30 minutes early or 1 hour early. And when we were talking about this, when we were prepping for the show this morning, I said, there is no way that you could get up an hour early 20 days in a row and not accidentally do something good for yourself. Like if you get up an hour early and do that 20 days in a row, you will do good things for yourself if you stay away from your phone. Okay? Stay away from your phone. No fair touching your phone when you get up for your own self. I mean, if you have an excuse that you have a Kindle and reader on there and that's the only thing, maybe pull up your book and then put it on airplane mode or something so you can't be bothered. But otherwise, no fair on your phone. If you looked out a window, if you did our kingly routine on the toilet, on the throne, one appreciation, you ask yourself some of these questions, you will do good for yourself. There is no other choice. Okay? And so, Cynthia, I'd love for you to unmute yourself and talk about these. What do you have control over? I have control over when I get up in the morning. Okay? I may feel like I lose control over the rest of my day. And what can no one else get in the way of you doing? And how do you stretch your radar? So, Cynthia, talk with us about these bullets, if you will. Like, what's the point? What do I have control over? What can no one else get in the way of? And how do I stretch my radar so I can achieve bigger things in my life?
Yeah, so what's the point? Why would I get up earlier than I necessarily had to? This kind of goes into our idea of spiritual confidence and our why. Why are we doing each day? Why are we practicing habits to shift how we move in ourselves and how we move in relationship with others? And I want to go back to that original question of the gentleman who's asking, how can I trust again? And it was like half of that is trusting ourselves. And that's a journey in itself. I believe self-trust comes when we are continually tapping into, this is what I want to do and why. And then we follow through on that. If we feel like we're not following through on that, then there's this pain and this disconnect. We're in dissonance because we know who we are, we know how we want to be, but we also know that we're not following through on that.
Yeah, that dissonance that you said, I agree that if we've promised, especially if we've flapped our mouth a lot, like, oh, this is going to be different, and my New Year's resolution, and I'm going to do 9,000 push-ups every single day, and then we're breaking that own trust with ourselves. Obviously, we feel like shit when we do that. So back to, we want to honor put the binoculars down, look down, what's the next 1 or 2 steps I can do that I realistically believe that I can do. So Cynthia, talk with us about what can I do where no one else can get in the way? Tell us about that.
Yeah. There's so many things that, I know that I don't have control of in my life. I can't control how people always respond to me. I can't always control exactly the course of my schedule. But I can control how I treat myself. I can control how I treat my physical body. And there's power in that, right? There's a deeper sense of power than when we're looking to other people to see, am I controlling this situation well? And I will even say there's, sometimes my back gets a little out of whack, and I'll get into this place of, I can't believe I'm dealing with this. This is so frustrating, and I have the ability to control that through stretching and how I take care of my physical presence. So even that, it's not so much the focus on why has this been given to me? Why am I the victim of this? To what do I have that I can control in the situation? And am I doing that? Or am I kind of hanging out in the boat on the river going, this is so hard?
Yeah. So I want to segue that right into the morning routine again, which is getting up, and something I use now is a foam roller, a hard foam roller. And I lay down on it for my lower back. And I'm standing up here to do this shoot, and I haven't been used to that prior to a month ago. So my back was really upset. And every morning now, for about 20 minutes, I use that roller. So I've gotten up early. It's not hard. I literally just lay on the thing, roll side to side and pull my knees up. And that has been a godsend. That has been an absolute miracle in my life. Just this foam roller that I lay on for 20 minutes in the morning. Okay, so being able to control that and control my body and not have my back spasm or not just be completely uncomfortable on my Zoom calls. I do one-on-one coaching calls pretty much all day long after the show, right? So I am standing up and then I'm sitting in a chair. Well, how do I take care of myself? I'm in control of that in the morning. So I want to show a little bit of research real fast, less than 1 minute. And then the last question on that sheet in those bullets, Cynthia, was, how do I expand my radar? And this will segue into that. So here's a Psychology Today article by this gentleman, this MD, Ralph Ryback. And it's about how to trick your brain into helping you become the person you want to be. And the Cliff's Notes is here, when we get something we want, it releases dopamine in our brains, okay? And this chemical is known as the feel-good neurotransmitter. You guys have heard of dopamine. It's possible to manipulate your dopamine levels by setting small goals and then accomplishing them, okay? Not promising them to other people, but actually doing the actions of accomplishing them. For instance, your brain may receive a spike in dopamine if you promise yourself that you'll clean out the refrigerator, and then you do it. Holy shit, you actually do it. This is one reason people benefit from to-do lists. Okay, so back to, if I give you a to-do list in the morning, right here, your kingly morning plan, while you sit on the throne, this is your to-do list. Even if the first 3, 1 sentence appreciation, read something inspirational for 3 minutes, and then asking yourself, what do I know to be true about my life? How do I stop bullshitting myself, basically, is number 3. And what do I know to be true in my life? That takes less than 5 minutes. So if that's your to-do list and you promise yourself you're going to do it, and maybe you missed it yesterday, so you go back and write a sentence appreciation yesterday, it's real easy to catch up. It's real easy to read 6 minutes because I missed 3 minutes yesterday. Right? It's easy to ask myself maybe a second question of, well, what do I know to be true? The sun is shining. I'm breathing right now. My legs are working. Okay? Maybe that's where we start. So Cynthia, how do we expand our radar? Talk with us about that, please.
Yeah, I love this.
How do we stretch our radar?
And I experienced this. I don't know what I don't know. So if you ask me to envision, how would you like this to be different? And I haven't seen anything or experienced anything that is really pulling me. I know there's other visions out there. I know there's other ways. I just don't know them. And that is why I think when you share your stories, you share your routines, you share your thought processes, it's adding gold into the pot for everyone to kind of expand out into and go, oh, wow, I had not thought of it in that way before, or I had never had that vision before, but that sounds really good. That's what this feels like. That actually is I didn't know what grounded, open-hearted, incredible masculine energy felt like. I didn't even know what to even look for in partnership until I had some gentlemen model that for me. And I was like, oh, now I know. Now I know what's important and what pulls to me. And that was life-changing and something I'm incredibly grateful for.
Oh, that's such a great way to start to wrap up our show today, is modeling. So you seeing the modeling of masculine in relationship. The men here are learning how to be models for themselves, for their children, right? For your spouse even, of modeling what healthy relationship looks like. Okay. Staying outside the drama triangle, knowing what we can control, considering it's us, it's her, and it's the relationship, the three entities, the tools that we show, the boardroom exercise of how to process these things, everything that we've been developing and showing over this show, we don't hold anything back. I said yesterday that I had the biggest compliments in the world about this show, which was a man told me, I think you may be giving too much away because I have a lot to work on just from watching the show. And I said, that's fantastic. That's exactly what I'm going for. Because one-on-one coaching that I do professionally, first of all, I'm like 99% full. I'm already 10 days out from even be able to book anyone right now, which is, a good problem to have. So that's my business, the heart in the business. My business is doing great. And I want to give away, all the secrets, which aren't really secrets. I want to give these away because there's men. I talked to a man who is a teacher out of Canada last week who doesn't have the money to invest in a program or invest in one-on-one coaching, but he can come onto the show. He can get our free audio book. He can buy a $9 book like No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover because this show recommends it. We curate all of this for you guys. We put this together because we want it to be funny and fun and impactful, all in the same show. So that's a huge compliment to me. And, everyone has unique situations. So I love that gentleman in Canada called me and I gave him a 90, my free consult call. My first consult call is always free. I give my heart for 90 minutes and I gave it to this man in Canada and I was happy to do so that he could have a relationship with his two now going to be teenage son and daughter. His son's turning 14, his daughter is turning 12. And it's about having a relationship with them. So that was my goal, is how to guide him to have an awesome relationship with them and be the father and man he wants to be, even though he's separated from his spouse. Okay, he came back into town. She's like, I don't want any more of this. I want to separate. He's had to move out. So he's paying for an apartment, right? These situations, that's why I want to give as much as I can give. And for a man who wants one-on-one coaching, that we will step through this customized every step of the way, depending on the confluence of her background, the traumas that have happened, the situation that's going on right now, my own personal triggers in life, how I handle those triggers, and how I follow through, take the binoculars off my face and take step by step by step. Right? So Cynthia, let's go ahead and honor our men for today. I want to show, it's not going to be a music video today because I ran way over. It's 12 after 12 here Mountain Time. I love you guys that are still here. Pretty much every single man except for I think one is able to hang on and stay. I love that. Again, everyone who's here, Kent, Dennis Collins, Paul, Randy, Rob, Scott, everybody is on here. Andy again, of course, right? Tony. Well, hopefully Tony comes on and talks with us next time. Of course, Brett and Harry and Ian. Love you guys. Joseph's on here too. Michael again, of course. Love you guys. So let's honor our men, and I'll take us out with 2 clips from the movie Weird Science, 1985.
Thank you for today, and thank you for who you are in every day. I truly appreciate it, and I love getting to be here.
Absolutely. I love being able to be here too. This has been the C Note Show, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. You can go to our website, greatmenmovemountains.com/free audiobook for our audiobook and the free 13-page accompaniment. Or you can contact us directly about our one-on-one coaching at our website /contact. And that's a great way to get a hold of us. You can request access to our private Facebook page there as well. We have 107, I believe, men right now and are amazingly supportive and inclusive, let's say, in all these different situations within our private Facebook page. It's been phenomenal. So thank you all the guys that are here. We will be here tomorrow, the same bat time, same bat channel, 11 a.m. Mountain. See you tomorrow, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Here's some weird science. This is the setup, and then the money is the second one. Here we go.
Okay, look, you know how you're always talking about how you can simulate all that stuff on your computer? You know? What's the difference? Why can't we simulate a girl?
I don't know. I guess I could, but why? It's two-dimensional on the screen. It's not flesh and blood, Gary.
Well, I know that, but you know, we can use it. Why? We can ask it questions. We can put it in real life sexual situations and see how it reacts. Like real sick, demented shit. You'd love it.
Well, what about your girl in Canada?
She was in Canada. The girl's no morals. You know, I don't like that on a girl. It's rough having that kind of relationship. You'll see. Anyway, get to work. I mean, anything bigger than a handful, you're risking a sprained toe. You know, and
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, now what?
Should we give her a brain?
Yeah, we can play chess with her.
Chess? Just give her a brain, okay?
Okay, that's about all we can do with my stuff.
I can't believe this shit. I can't believe this. Did you get a free toaster with this too?
Gary, it's smarter than you, okay? Problem is, it's a lame idea, okay?
Not a lame idea. The problem is your computer's a wimp and we need a lot more power than this. That's the problem.
What do you suggest?
Yeah, they need more power so they can actually create the woman that they want. Here we go. Here's the last. It's
By the way, why are we wearing bras on our heads?
Ceremonial.
You ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
Hang up the phone! Why? What's going on? I don't know! Well, unplug it, okay? Oh, shit! No, it's a birthday present! Oh, shit! Oh my God! Oh, shit! Get this thing out of your house! Get it out! Who's your idea? This is all your fault! I get out! You get it out! I'll get it out! Whoa! She's alive! Alive!
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Oh yeah, so good. So good. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, guys. See you tomorrow.
Whose heart is sunshine, whose body burn hot. I'ma tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she can't.